Hello and welcome back to What's Bubbling in ZIM. I am Dr. Abstract, and in this bubbling we're going to continue to take a look at what's new in ZIM 018. So let's go to the ZIM site now, zimjs.com, and we can find out what's new right here. And we've done a bunch of bubblings already, and we're going to take a quick look at the tile here. This is something we've wanted to do for a while now. The tile has spacing, and our spacing was not dynamic. So we've got these things called dynamic parameters, the ZIM V values, and the spacing, it was complicated, did not use ZIM V values, or did not accept ZIM V values. So now they do, yay, which means that we can say, I think the spacing is horizontally is the same. But what we're doing is saying, let's make the spacing vertically be a series, starting with 25 and then 100, or whatever that is. So if we had more of these, it would go back to 25 and 100, but you can always make your series be as long as you need. In other words, you could specify each individual spacing. So just a reminder, though, that the spacing, when you do those individual spacings, if you've got 3 things, then you've got 2 spacings to deal with. Okay, and they can also be random if you wanted to, but probably not, although maybe you might want random spacing, or they could be within a range of a min and a max. Well, that would be random, I suppose, but you can provide an array of random spacings and it would pick from those. But probably what you'll find is the series is the most interesting for you, because then you can specify the spacing in order. All right, let's drop that down and have a look at the code. So here we are bringing in ZIM 018, and we're going to do tile with custom spacing. We're bringing in a couple, what do we got here? So we got a background picture, we've got some soccer balls. That's we're bringing in from the assets a sprite sheet, and then telling the sprite sheet to go to a certain frame, so that works it like a texture atlas, and same with these backpacks as well. So there we are bringing in the background, the backpacks, and the balls up there. And we're making a new sprite, which is that, and we're running frame 0 on it. One day, it's just unfortunate that the sprite already has a frame parameter, and that is which frame the sprite is running in, which affects how it's animated, like the ZIM frame that it's running in. And then unfortunately, yeah, we have frames of the sprite. So I don't know why that makes it awkward. I suppose because the frame parameter in here is a different frame than the frame parameter in there. And it would be nice if we could just specify which frame. As we're building it, might be easier than putting it in the run. But anyway, whatever. That's how it currently is. And this isn't terribly elegant. We could have done that perhaps in a loop or something, but then we'd have to do this in a loop and join the two yeah, well, I could have thrown it in there. Do you want to do that? No, it's not an explorer. Const assets. No, we don't use that. Const parts is equal to a new array. There's a global variable called assets that stores our assets. We wouldn't be able to access those if we did that. Const parts, and then we will loop. How many of these do we want? 5 of them? 6 of them? Loop 6 times. Each time we get given an index, and we will say parts.push the new sprite, all this stuff right there, except for the comma. We're going to push the new sprite 3 by 3, and it will be frame I. And we do the same thing, except we've got 3 backpacks. the backpacks are 5 by 2. 5 by 2. Yeah. Oh, not scaling. Okay. And then we pass 2 parts here. A little bit tidier, perhaps. So loop 6 times, make 6 balls, frames. Okay, let's see if it works. Open in default browser. There they are. Okay, that's good. So there they are there. And we close that. There they are live. They were the same. Yay! All right. But what we wanted to get to was we're tiling the parts 3 by 3. 25 is the spacing horizontally. And then we're passing in a series of 25 first, followed by 120. So if we did that and both of them, can you imagine what that would look like? This is the live version. So open in default browser. There's the current version we have. So now it's spacing both ways like that. So as you can imagine, that can be quite handy. Yay! And I know it can be handy because we wanted to do it before. Here's how we did it before. We would tile it 25. And we would tile this one 25. Because that's all we could do is just pass in numbers there. And that. And then we would say const t is equal to, for the tile, it's not going to be centered. Well, or it'd be, yeah, we'll have to position it afterwards. So t dot pose that, and then we loop through t, so t dot loop, oops, so t dot loop, each time we get item. We actually couldn't loop through the, so that loops through all of the children, and if we're in the last row, we could calculate it out that way, but it might be easier to just loop through the array. So loop t dot items 2D or something like that it's called. Let's go find out. Oh, this is like an explorer. By the way, yeah, anytime we code together and it's longer, we call those ZIM explorers. ZIM bubblings aren't really supposed to code together too much. We sometimes do a little, but you know, we look through the code, but you know, we're not supposed to explore. But this was a short one, so hey, hey, we want the docs and looking up tile here, and there are ways to get certain things from the tile, and those are properties then. So anytime we want afterwards. Items gets you an array of all of the items. Items 2D as a read-only array of the rows of each, containing an array of columns. So that's what we want. Then there's items 2D calls, which is a read-only array of the columns containing an array of rows. So if we wanted to shift a bunch of rows over to the right, then we would use that one. ID, we'd loop through the columns and get the rows. But we want to shift the bottom, what I want to do anyway, is shift the row, the last row down. So at that, we get items 2D, which gives us an array of rows, each containing an array of columns. So we're going to get the first row, the second row, the third row, and we're going to take that third row, go into our third row, and loop through the columns. Oh, I spelled columns wrong. All right, so how did I spell columns there? C-O-L. You ready? We go back over here. This is much like a ZIM Explorer as well. We are on 018s there, and we want the CDN, which is right here. So it'll just take a moment. You guys don't mind little weird things like this, do you? It's like, oh, hey, this is kind of how it's all built. So there's the doc right there, and, well, the ZIM with the docs. And I spelt column wrong. Oh, so I had a space there. No result with an N. I thought I spelt it wrong. Did I not spell it wrong? Column. Which one was it? One of these. I swear, one of these didn't have an N on the end. It was just column. There it is right there. Columns plural. Okay. Alrighty. So I have to do a search for columns plural. There we go. Oops, I've done it a few times. So columns. It looks weird now. Okay, and is there another one? Yeah. Let's put an S on it, maybe. Either that or this was copy and pasted, probably. Okay, so that's been updated. We update it, so I just updated it to the server. Or there she goes. And then I go ramp live. Ding. It's done. And we go to the docs and we type in, or we do a refresh on the docs here. May as well refresh here. And we have to find tile. What was it? Was I looking at tile right there? Yeah, let's see if we've got spelling right. And so we scroll down in tile. We were doing the columns 2D, or the items 2D there. And did we find it? Where did I see? There's columns spelled right, but we had plural columns somewhere. Columns. Hey. And columns. That's how you spell it, right? Sometimes, I mean, it's a weird word, isn't it? Like, why do we have that N on the end of it? But it looks like I was having a problem with it when it was plural. All right. Items 2D is what we want. Let's come back in here. So we're going to loop through t.items 2D. We don't need to loop through. We just want to get the last one. So actually, I want to get the array that is the last one. So that's at 0, 1, 2. How many do we have? I think there's 3. Yeah, 3. So 0, 1, 2. That gets us, that is the last row, basically. And that's what we're going to loop through, comma, and then we get the item that we want. So this is how we used to do it. We would get the last row, and then we would say item dot move 0, 100. Then once we do that, we will see that they'll be moved. One would hope. So there they are, not moved, and we refresh here. Oh, great. Yay, we did it! But we forgot. Hey, oopsies. There's the tile thing in the background. So it just runs into more problems. We'd have to go find out whatever number those are and reference them and push those down as well. So now it's all done for us. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Yay. I better undo this. And we're wanting to make sure that that gets back to whatever it was doing. 120, almost series, yay. Now let's check her out again. It was sort of failed experiment there, wasn't it? Yeah, these backings are different than the items themselves, so we'd have to go and move those two. Good, Dundee. Except now we don't have to go and move those, we just use the ZIM V values. Again, more power to ZIM V, yay. The more we can use those, the better. And that has been a What's Bubbling at ZIM. We now can space out our tilings dynamically. Right, where shall I take you? How about to the ZIM site and say, come visit us at Discord or the forum and complain about any of, I think in the last bubbling, I told you to come to the forum to complain. I wonder if that works. Are we going to get more people coming into the forum so that you can complain? Yay! That's it. Nothing like engaging our users by having them complain about stuff. Anyway, you're welcome to come to the forum or Discord and let us know how things are. You know, like join us, become friends. You know, we have some people that we've talked to now for 10 years, and they're still around. Isn't that amazing? 10 years of hanging out with people. So you're probably listening. But if we got some new people, you could be around for another 10 years. Yeah, and we'd like to see you. We're friendly. See, I'm smiling. Oh, can't see I'm smiling. I'm laughing. Is that what you want in friends? People to laugh at you. Yes. Okay, well, I must be in a strange mood, I tell you. Why don't we pull up the ending screen here, though, and that would be this one. And we'll see you guys around for the next bubbling. Cheers.